Texas A&M parents, I want to make you wealthy. I want you to know this hack that will leverage your money to tuition covering returns. I'll say that again, tuition covering returns. If you make the right decision when you invest in student housing in Bryan-College Station while your son or daughter attends A&M, you can not just do pretty well, but you could cover the cost of that tuition. Guys, we're gonna break down the difference between buying a standard student rental and a duplex here in Bryan-College Station. Before we jump into this video, I want you to go back and check out this one right here. That's where we break down the difference between paying rent every month and buying a standard off-the-shelf student rental house for around $350,000. In this video, we're gonna go one step further and compare that house to a duplex here in Bryan-College Station. Specifically, we're gonna break down the difference between buying a Barracks Townhome, a 4-bedroom Barracks Townhome, and a duplex like the ones found on Oldenburg here in College Station. We are going to use specific properties for this example so that you know exactly how much money you can make when you invest in Bryan-College Station. Guys, stay tuned. This is gonna be a good one. I picked two assets that couldn't be more different, but I think are very appropriate for this discussion. First, we have a Barracks built townhome. If you don't know what the Barracks are, that is a community that was purpose built for the students. It's very popular, and a lot of my clients who are looking to purchase while their son or daughter attends A&M, they look at the Barracks for pretty obvious reasons. It has all the amenities and everything a college kid would want, to include the resort style pool and the bus stop in the middle of the neighborhood. On the other side, I picked 2000s built duplexes in College Station. Now there's not many of them, but they are my favorite investment asset here in town for parents or otherwise. So let's look at these two assets and what do they have in common? Well, most appropriately in common is their price point. One of these Barracks townhomes you can usually get between $360,000 and $400,000. We'll call it $380,000 as a good point of comparison. The duplexes, you can pick one of these things up for $400,000 all day long at their asking price. Now, the Barracks were built between about 2012 and 2016, whereas these duplexes were built in the earlier 2000s, 2000 to 2005. A Barracks townhome is going to be 1,800 square feet. It's going to get you a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. Now, the duplex is 2,600 square feet, 13 a side, 6-bedroom, 6-bath, 3-bedroom, 3-bath per side. The other major difference that you want to take into account is the fact that the Barracks is going to have an HOA of right around $200 a month, and the duplexes like those found in Oldenburg, because they are older, usually need some level of repairs. I see a lot of ACs or flooring that needs to be replaced. So I usually assume about $10,000 per side to get it ready for a student to move into. So now we've talked about the basics, let's jump into the actual financial difference, the analysis between these two asset classes. Let's jump into my favorite part, the numbers. So when we're gonna compare the two, let's first look at what it's gonna cost to purchase this. Let's talk about our down payment, closing costs, and any repairs necessary. Now the Barracks are usually in pretty dang good condition. They're upgraded pretty often after every student moves out. So you're looking at about 20% down on $380,000, that's $76,000. And let's call it an even $10,000 in closing cost. So you're at about $86,000 to get into a Barracks townhome. Now on the duplex side, we're talking about $400,000, 20% of that down would be $80,000. The same $10,000 in closing costs, but now I did mention we're probably gonna need some repairs. Let's throw in $20,000, 10 per side, to fix up this duplex. Now we're talking about $110,000. So yes, it's considerably more, $24,000 more to get into a duplex, but let's see if it's worth it. Next, we're gonna look at our monthly payment. What does it cost us every single month? This is gonna be principal, interest, tax, insurance, and HOA fees. And in fact, in both cases, we're right around $2,900. Yeah, they're a little bit off that. I'm rounding slightly here, but guys, the Barracks townhome is cheaper but it does have the HOA fees. The duplex, no HOA fees, but insurance can be a little bit higher. When I put this into my mortgage calculator, they both came out to right around $2,900. So the good news is they're gonna cost you about the same per month. But remember, we are creating income off of these assets. That's right, Johnny's gonna live in one bedroom and we're gonna rent out the rest. In the case of the Barracks, we've got 3 extra bedrooms. These rent out generally around $700 per bedroom, which means you're gonna bring in $2,100. Simple math means that you're gonna be out of pocket $800 every single month to help cover the mortgage, because of course, those 3 bedrooms don't bring in enough money. Now, on the side of the duplex, we have a total of 6 bedrooms, which means we can rent out 5 of those bedrooms. These duplexes rent out right around $600 per bedroom. $600 times 5 bedrooms brings in $3,000, and you're actually positive $1,000 a month. So how does this play out over 4 years? Well, check this out. We're savvy investors. We already know that most of our return is going to come in the form of equity, which means appreciation and principal pay down. So we're going to see what that looks like for these 2 assets over the next 4 years. I had to make some assumptions, so bear with me as I break this down for you. We are going to assume that both of these asset classes are amortized over 30 years, and therefore that's how our principal pay down will play out. We're also going to assume that they are going to appreciate at the same rate. Both are in high demand right now, and I don't expect that to change anytime soon. So we're going to apply a 4% appreciation to both asset classes. Guys, the market average for the last 30 years in Bryan-College Station is closer to 4.7, so 4% is a pretty conservative number. Let's jump in and see how it plays out for both of these assets. Starting off with the Barracks, we had a purchase price of $380,000. After 4 years, at 4% appreciation, it's now worth $445,000. That's a $65,000 appreciation. But there's more. We also had principal pay down. In fact, now after 4 years, the balance on your loan is only $289,000, which means you have $156,000 of equity. That's pretty dang good. But if you remember, we had to pay $800 per month for 48 months. That comes out to right around $38,000 that came out of your pocket over the last 4 years. And we had an initial payment of $86,000 down payment, closing costs to get into this property. So your profit is actually $32,000. You made $32,000 over 4 years. Of course, that beats the hell out of paying for rent. On the other side of things, guys, we've got the duplex that you bought for $400,000. After 4 years at 4% appreciation, it is now worth $468,000. That's a $68,000 appreciation. $3,000 better than the Barracks. And of course, thanks to principal pay down, our loan balance has now dropped all the way down to $304,000, which means you have $164,000 worth of equity. But remember, we made $100 a month, so you have a whopping extra $5,000. We're gonna tack that on right there. But you did have to put $110,000 to get into this property, which means that your final profit is $59,000. $59,000, $32,000. The duplex would have made you $27,000 richer over those 4 years. Now, quick math, it's roughly $6,000 per semester to go to A&M. 6 into 27 is right around just shy of 5. So you have almost 5 semesters worth of tuition that you now have back in your pocket because you decided to buy a duplex compared to a Barracks townhome. And if you hadn't watched the last video, you remember in that video I talked about you're generally going to spend right around $35,000 in rent over those 4 years. So would you rather lose $35,000 or make $60,000? That's a $95,000 difference. Nearly $100K compared to someone who pays rent every month and someone who was smart enough, savvy enough, and financially sound enough to buy a duplex. Guys, I rest my case. Buy the dang duplex, make some money. You're gonna cover the cost of tuition and then some. You're still here. You're still here. You remembered the bonus content, the client question. Well, thank you very much. Guys, this will be a good one. So this is gonna make it worth your while. Because the question I normally get when I start talking about student rentals and parents buying houses is, do I have to put 20% down? And the answer is positively, absolutely no. If you want to, you can put 100% down, buy it in cash. But that's probably not what you're thinking. You're probably wondering, Greg, can I put less than 20% down? And also, yes. So 20% down is the basic standard for an investment property, 20 to 25% down. But you're in a unique situation because your son or daughter is owner occupying the property, so you have a few different loan options. One is a secondary home loan. This is the same loan you would get if you have a lake house or a beach house. In this case, you're buying a house not near your primary residence that you'll be using for personal reasons. So if you plan on visiting your son or daughter and staying in the house, if you plan on going to game days, if you plan on coming to ring dunk weekends, then this would be a good option for you. And the cool thing is that these secondary home loans only require a 10% down payment. Another option is called the Kitty Condo Loan. I didn't make that up, guys. I don't love the name. And quite frankly, it doesn't always work with our condos here in town. But what it does work for is a lot of our townhomes and single family homes and possibly even our duplexes. Check with your lender. With these loans, you can put as little as 3.5% down. Because what you're really doing is you're actually getting an FHA loan for yourself, and the loophole is because your dependent, your son or daughter, is living in it, you get to use these primary home products, FHA loan products, when buying these houses. Some of the stipulations are your son or daughter has to have a credit score, but that's a really good option, and you're only putting 3.5% down. Again, it's called a Kitty Condo Loan, but don't think of condos, think of single family homes and townhouses. And then lastly, the baller option is if you were to co-sign and put the property in your son or daughter's name. I know this sounds absolutely bonkers, but hear me out. This would be a great way to get them investing in real estate. What I would do in this situation is if you were willing to do so, maybe buy this in your son or daughter's name, maybe have them take out loans for school. Hey, Johnny, you're responsible for school, but I'm gonna make an investment in this property that's gonna be in your name. I will gift you the money, I will help you out with the down payment, but you will be responsible for collecting the rent, you will be responsible for making the mortgage payments, but you will enjoy the appreciation. Guys, this would have blown my mind as a college kid, but probably would have gotten me into investing that much sooner. Honestly, my dad and I thought about this back when I was in school, but we could never really figure out how to make it work. If you want to make it work, obviously you can always give me a call. I'll talk you through the process, whether it's a secondary home loan, kitty condo, or you're going to co-sign for your son or daughter. All these are great options where you can do as low as 10 or 3.5% down. As always, guys, I'll have a new video every single week. My only ask is that until then, you take it easy.